All right, make sure you've got BD Live Intro 5 MIDI effects session open, and we're going to add and show you how to use some of the MIDI effects built into Ableton Live. These are super fun and they create great results, as you will see. All right, let's go over to Live Devices, go to our Instruments folder, and let's drag out our trusty sampler. Let's then navigate to our Samples folder on the hard drive, and let's use sign_66. Drop that into the drop here window. Now if you play your keyboard, you'll notice this is a nice, clean, and soft sine wave. But let's make this a little more interesting. But first, let's double click on an empty MIDI clip and let's draw out some notes. I am going to draw out one on C3. I'm going to drag that to about there. And I'm actually going to lengthen this to 2 bars. And I'm going to drag another note. I want this on D sharp 3. I'm going to drag this one out. I want another one on A sharp 2. And I'm going to have another one on F3. And drag this one out. All right. Make sure overwrite is turned off. Let's press play. Let's solo this first. All right, just a simple little pattern. Let's start adding some effects. So let's hit Shift Tab and let's go over to our live devices again. Let's toggle down the MIDI effects folder this time, and we're going to drag the chord effect onto our MIDI track. And you notice this time the chord effect goes before the simpler instrument. That's because this is going to actually affect our MIDI notes and not necessarily our sounds after the simpler. This is going to hit before it goes to the simpler. And I'm just going to turn this, I'm going to take Shift 2 and I'm going to add it up to 7 semitones. And let's take a listen to this right now. So I just simply added a 7th to each note. Let's now add our arpeggiator instrument to this. I'm going to make sure our sign 66, let's rename that too. Let's call this ARP. All right, make sure your ARP track is selected, and let's double click the arpeggiator, and we're going to add some arpeggiation to this track. And right out of the gates, it's kind of where we want it to be. If you press play, and you can mess around with the style, the groove, the rate. If I change this, it'll arpeggiate over 16th notes. You'll hear this. A little too crazy for us. We're going to go back to 8th notes, and we're going to leave it there. We're going to add some more audio effects to this to round out our sound. I'm going to go up to Live Devices. We're going to go down to Audio Effects, and I'm going to add some compression. Turn this make up. And then I'm going to add a really fun filter delay to this. If I double click, it'll go on after the compressor. And what this is going to do is add some delay to the notes. And it's a really nice effect. Let's take a listen. Notice, I don't know if you could hear it with headphones, but it was starting to clip a bit. I'm just going to bring it down in the levels. I could also bring it down here in the compressor. And you can mess around with these filters and just have certain frequencies coming through in the delay. But just for this purpose, it's adding a nice little effect to this. Let's hear this in context. So it gives us a lot of motion with that. If you want to solo more than one track, you just hold down Command, and then you can click solo on a number of tracks. So all we did here was we made a new track, we dropped a sine wave in here, we made a couple notes, and we added the chord Midi effect, the Arpeggiator, we added some compression and a filter delay, and we're getting a nice little a synth line here. And you can dial in, I'm just dialing in the volume here, it's a little too much, but we can filter that and we can mess with that when we get into our mix stage. But alright, let's move on.